Let's show you three simple things to help you learn how to use commas. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the use of a comma with a conjunction. Then I'm going to talk about a comma splice and how that doesn't work. And then we're going to talk about the serial comma. Three simple things. We'll do them really quickly. So let's have a simple sentence. John went to the car and drove away. Do I need a comma or not? How many thousands of times have you thought this over? Here's the simple rule of thumb. This is called a conjunction. The word and is easily the most common one, but we use but and for and so and yet and those words like that. They join two parts of the sentence together. When you have a conjunction, you ask yourself, is the one on this side of the conjunction a complete sentence? And in this case, John went to the car is a complete sentence. Then you go to the other side of the conjunction. Is drove away a complete sentence? The answer is no. There's no subject in that. It's not a complete sentence. This piece can't live on its own. It has to be connected. And if it can't live on its own, has to be connected, it's one sentence. You don't put a comma in there. Now, if you made a slight change to that, if you had he drove away in there, now you add a subject to this side of it. So it would be he drove away is a complete sentence. And of course, John went to the car is still a complete sentence. So if you have a conjunction in the middle, you will now need to add a comma. John went to the car and he drove away. These are two complete sentences. He drove away, John went to the car. And when I'm reading through material by students and I see the word and, I just say, is that a complete sentence on the left? Yes. Is that a complete sentence on the right? Yes, there should be a comma there. And you can get to notice it right away too. Okay, that's enough with the conjunction comma. Let's go to the comma splice. This is a very common error. John went to the car, comma, he drove away. This is wrong. Simply because you have a complete sentence there and you have a complete sentence there and they're not joined with a conjunction. You just have a comma. It's been spliced with a comma. It's wrong. How can you make it right? Well, you could add the word and, just like we did in the other example. John went to the car and he drove away. Or put a period here and start this sentence over again. John went to the car, he drove away. Two complete sentences. But you can't join two complete sentences into one with just a comma. That's called a comma splice. Now let's take a look at the other. How about a serial comma? That's a comma that appears in a series of items in a list. So I'm going to write a simple one. Oops, Bill, Sue, and Tony were all at the party. That's great. Okay, so we know that Bill is one person, Sue is another person, and Tony's another person. There's no real problem there. Do we put a comma here between Sue and the word and? Now, you may have been taught, as most people were, that that is an optional comma. Put it in if you want. Don't put it in if you don't want. That does not apply to APA writing. In APA writing and all professional writing, that comma must be there. It must. So if you have learned that it's optional, just simply remember that that's wrong. And I'll show you why in a second. But you need a comma there. You need a comma between each of the items in the series. That's why it's a serial comma. Bill, Sue, and Tony. You can tell that there's three things for sure. So let's try an example that's a little bit more consistent with what we're going to see at the college. First of all, a sentence from a student report. The annual company meetings included the sales and marketing. That's 1. Research and development. That's 2. Customer service. 3. And maintenance departments. 4. That's 4 departments. Or is it? Without this comma here, this says to me that it's the customer service and maintenance department. It's one thing. There's only 3 departments here. So, is that what they're trying to say to me? Right away I would think, no, the maintenance department's separate. Well, wait a minute. Why not have a customer service and maintenance department where you serve the customers, but you also maintain the relationships with the customers? This is a very possible reality, and right now I haven't a clue. When I read this, I can't tell if there's 3 or 4 departments, if this is 2 departments or 1. Now, when I mark this, I will mark it as 3 departments, and anything that follows from there that's inconsistent with that would be wrong. If it is really 4 departments, you need the comma. Once again, it's easy to remember. The comma right in front of the conjunction, the serial comma, is mandatory. No exceptions. And that's it.